Hello, Pac Northwest Conference. This is Jill Riley, and I am happy to be with you today, and especially excited to talk to a new friend, Nancy DeJong. And she is a pastor who has worked in all sorts of roles, and I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit. And Nancy, if you would just tell us a little bit about your ministry background.
Sure. I'm Nancy DeJong, live in the Seattle area. My ministry started back in the early 2000s. I started volunteering in my children's classes in church and just loved developing kids. I started working in the preschool that they had that was just an amazing ministry outreach and was really growing in my faith. And that's when I started attending a covenant church that had just built a new building and started going through the membership class, and the values, the covenants that we had were just so beautiful to me. I started volunteering there in children's ministry, and uh, pretty quickly they hired me on part-time and then brought me on full-time. And I just valued what we were able to do with children. And as I was building scope and sequence for ministry and how we would teach our kids, I just really grasped onto the idea that the parents are the primary spiritual caregiver for their children. So how do we come alongside parents as
Right.
they teach and coach their kids? And it really goes back to that Deuteronomy 6 heartbeat that I think should be in absolutely every home. Hear, O Israel. He wasn't speaking to just the young parents or the parents of middle
Right.
schoolers. He was saying, "Here, oh people of God, let's walk alongside these kids."
As a children's pastor, I used to tell my parents, I'm only with your children for a season. You're with them for a lifetime. So how about you pastor your children and I will be a resource for you? That shift has to happen in parents' brains so they don't depend on you for all spiritual formation, right?
Right. Well, and so many parents, they want to teach their kids, but they have gaps in knowledge or feel like, oh, I don't know enough. I don't know how to pray enough, or I wasn't taught that well
Right.
enough. And so it's just easy to let that slide and let it become the responsibility of the church. If we're really discipling not just children, but families in our congregation, that's just part of the way that we live our life. I also just love empowering leaders, especially children and family leaders, because they often feel set aside. And we often have leaders who are volunteers or bivocational or very part-time. How do we elevate and encourage those leaders and resource them so that they're pouring into those families and helping their church make it a priority in the way that it best fits for their church? Because it's not a one size fits all.
What do you think is the biggest challenge for our ministers to children and families right now in this culture and this age?
It's the post-COVID challenges. Ministry to children and families just changed because we went online for a season out of necessity, which was amazing to be able to transition during that time, and then kind of a hybrid. And so many churches still offer that online option, which is great if you are traveling or homebound seniors. But reality is, a lot of families claim that as an option to then stay home and not be part of the body, but they're probably not even actually watching. It's an option that they can choose, but they often aren't. And so, regular attendance to walk alongside kids and families is a big challenge. Attendance patterns are different. There's a lot of behaviors that are coming out in children. I don't know if it's all mental health or if it's just those challenges where parents had to be absolutely everything for their children for actually several years. And now they're just like, they're tired and they
Mhm.
want a break. And so they turn their kids over to somebody else. And a lot of leaders that I've talked to in children's ministry, they're tired, they're worn out, they're not quite sure of the next steps because we're kind of traveling in a road that's different than what
Different.
we've been on
Yeah.
before. What
Right. There's
worked
no roadmap here.
No, what worked pre-COVID doesn't necessarily work now. It's a challenge now. How do we reach children and families today who have so many options of what they can do, and they want to hold on to an option of church, but they don't always exercise that right and engage in church.
So you are the chair of the Commission for Children and Family Ministries for the PAC Northwest. Tell us a little bit about what that commission does.
I love what we do because we get to come alongside leaders and empower them, encourage them, connect them, and help them know that they're not alone. We do that through quite a few different ways. One of the simplest that came out of COVID, we gather regularly on Zoom meetings. And sometimes we have a topic for that, and sometimes somebody has a pressing question or a challenge. And so we're able to meet each other virtually and share in ministry life in that way. But it's also just spawned beautiful friendships and mentorships to connect people to reach out to one another.
Is it an added challenge that many of our children and family leaders are not pastors, they're lay people, they're ever changing. It's kind of a changing landscape all the time, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we've been really diligent about trying to learn where somebody new is stepping in, to hear from churches when they are seeking a new person and when they filled that role, so that we can be praying for those open positions, but also reaching out to those new leaders and making sure we have their name and information. One thing we do, we send a book and just get them connected to the Zoom meetings and to Lunchbox, this huge resource that we have for children's ministry leaders. So we're intentional in trying to seek out those people, but also to invite them to different events as lay leaders to know that they are invited. This last fall, we did a big push, our team did, to invite leaders to the Next Gen conference before midwinter. And so it was just so beautiful to see so many new faces. We had the largest delegation to Next Gen conference, and I don't want these leaders to feel alone or lost or
Right.
struggling.
Well, as if you didn't have enough things to do, you are also on the National Commission for Children's and Family. And tell us a little bit about your role there.
We had a vacancy in children and family ministry for quite a few years at the denominational level. So, just over 2 years ago, a team was formed to step into that gap, to find resources, build resources, equip leaders. And so I've been leading that team since this last fall. So we're in the process right now of hiring a new director of children and family ministry, as well as a director of youth and young adult ministry. So I'm excited
That's
to see
exciting.
those roles fulfilled. And I've been able to be part of the interview teams as well. So,
One
yeah.
last question. When you look at the generation that is rising up right now, whether it be our young adults and teens or our littlest ones, what makes you most hopeful about the future of the church when you look at those little faces?
These generations are so open to caring for people and caring for the world around them. I think previous generations have been focused on the things or activities and themselves, and these generations see the world around them. I'm excited to help them see God in the world around them, of how He intersects their day every day, all the time, so that they know that they are seen, that they are loved, they are known, and that makes me excited for the upcoming generations.
Well, Nancy, it's been a joy to talk to you. I appreciate your ministry, both on the conference level, the local church level, and on the national level. And I wish you all the peace and rest that you need in the upcoming season. And may the rest of your day be a blessed one.
Thank you so much. So wonderful to have a conversation with you.